Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for joining me, whoever is out there. I've been talking about this for a while, and this is what I would probably describe as a personal act of bravery. Might be small to some, but we're going to explain, myself and my wonderful guest I'm going to tell you about in a moment, why it is such a big deal. And so what's going on today is that I will be discussing and demonstrating around a topic that I feel is really sorely needed around women and how we often find ourselves flipping between different kind of masks day in, day out. And whether that's doing us any good or not, or whether we're actually losing out in the long run. And the way this came up is because someone who's hugely important to me, who I'm really honored to have with me today, her name is Jessie Torres. She's a mentor. She is a friend. I'm very honored to be able to call her so. And I'm going to bring her on, actually. Why don't I just do that? So here we are. Welcome, Jessie.
Hello.
Hello, I'm so happy, so thrilled to have you here. Just want to tell everybody a little bit more about you, because of course you are yourself a multitude of things to so many people, including myself. I suppose first and foremost, you're an amazing, incredible mother to three wonderfully talented, artistic star children, shall we call them. You are also a fantastic, amazing mentor to so many people. You are the founder of Fierce Grace. You're a coach who's been in the field for, if I remember rightly, over 15 years, having previously worked for Tony Robbins, the Heart Math Institute, of which I know you're an expert, and I would love you to talk a little bit around that too. But why you're here today is because, if you remember, a week or so ago, we were talking about this topic of women wearing a multitude of masks. And I mentioned to you how, one of mine is wearing makeup. And for as long as I can remember, probably well over 35 years, I've been wearing makeup. And there was a very strong pull towards it because I felt in many ways more accepted by the world. I found that it gave me access, and like a lot of women, it meant so many things to be pretty. It also detracted from people who wanted to pick on me when I was younger and growing up in a place which was quite racist, frankly, in London in the 1970s, 80s. And I said to you, I've always wanted to make a video where I start off fully made up, and by the end of it, it's all come off. Well, I've taken it off. And of course, the next day, you sent me that message saying, I've got a challenge for you. And I was just like, oh, shit.
You walked right into that one.
I really totally walked right into that. And, well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. And I wouldn't be making this video if it wasn't for you. And it means so very much to me to have you here, because I know, even on a personal level, you are extraordinary. You've had to face the kind of adversity that I don't know other people have to face in your lifetime. And having been able to face that with full heart and still come back to your heart, and the way that you have been able to transform the emotion of having suffered extreme losses, the loss of your two brothers, for example, who were murdered, if I remember rightly, 30 years apart. And yet still defiantly being able to transform that and transmute that and show up in full heart and find some meaning on the level of love, and to bring that to your work and to others, and to help them heal from as much adversity that I know there's a hell of a lot more in your life that you've faced. For me, you are a hero, a true hero of mine. I'm honored to have you here today because I've got you on my calendar, and I know you're a very busy lady and so very valued out there in the world. But I know that you're also here as a sister in arms to help me, get through this.
Time to remove the mask. Yes. Well, thank you, Pimmy. Such a wonderful intro. Thank you for appreciating, who I am and my commitment. And when you said that, again, those things don't slide by me. So in that, I saw that, it was something that you were really wanting to do. I could feel it in you, and that maybe there was something there. Like, what came up for you when you said that? And I reached out to you and I said, "Hey, I have a challenge for you." What came up for you?
Yeah, it's so true. There was a hell of a lot that came up for me. And I do believe these things are not by accident. Nothing is a coincidence. And so I obviously felt safe with you to discuss that with you, because of course, being who you are, you're not going to let that go. And it's also part of your work as well, and your commitment to helping people get free of what holds them back and keeps them small. And I know you saw that. But it was a tough one, because I tell you what, in the last week and a half, however long it's been, since we first spoke about it, a lot has come up for me. I know that this speaks to a lot of women in different ways. I know there's a lot of women out there that don't necessarily wear makeup, and that's not really the point. And it's way more than being just about taking off the makeup. But for me, it goes way back. It's way back to that 13-year-old girl, or even earlier, who just felt really unaccepted, but unacceptable as well.
Yeah. So it goes deeper, it goes deeper. And that's kind of how I felt when you shared it. It sounded like it was something that like lit you up to want to do, but you hadn't yet taken that step. So, I'd love to know, like, what is your outcome for today? Like, what is it you're hoping for in doing this demonstration of taking off the masks that so many of us wear, that we think we need to in order to get accepted or loved, right? It's like there's a moment, a tipping point, right? I remember when my daughter first learned that her eyebrows mattered. Is when her best friend was just like, "Hey, when you want to take care of those, can I be the one to do it?" And she was in 4th grade. You know what I mean? And she's just like, "Oh, I did." All of a sudden, she's like wanting to hide it, and all of a sudden that was important. And now it was your appearance and what you wore and how you wore your hair and whether you were fat or whether you were thin. And it was all these things that started to evolve. So we all start to kind of be this state of like, I have to be this, I have to wear that in order to be loved and accepted. And so that's the part. So I'd love to know, what is your outcome?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would probably say there are a lot of outcomes that I would hope to achieve from this. It's really about the layers. My first fundamental outcome I would hope to achieve is to be able to help other girls and women like me who've perhaps been layering upon layering on top of different efforts and actions to hide who they are to the world, from the world.
Right.
And I certainly have been doing that. I've been doing it. But I've got to say, I've got to out this. A whole lot of shame came up just in the last week and a half. A whole lot of shame came up. From where? And I know that was big time buried deep into my childhood. And so when you're talking about your daughter, and that's hard. That's really hard to go through, especially when you're with people whom you trust, but who are at the same time, albeit because of the way they have grown up and the messages they've received, they're kind of holding up another mirror to us that we don't necessarily need to see. We certainly don't need to at those ages. And in that moment, straight away, your innocence is kind of like, torn away. And welcome to adult world, where we do not accept who we are. And it's just such a big, heavy blow, not least for women who after something like that, and I think we've all had a story like that, the eyebrows one. I certainly did. And I know that in my family, this is something that is rife, this belief that you have to show up a different way to your natural self to be accepted. And there's
Right.
no other way. And it's about survival. And it's, you know, and just to lift up that layer just a little bit, I grew up in London, in England, but in an Indian family where my parents were from a time, and actually still goes on, where women have a price tag on how they look, effectively. Sometimes
Right.
literally, sometimes literally. You might not find a husband if you don't look a certain way, if you're too dark skinned. And at the same time, that can be about survival. That can be about survival in a place like that. And you might not be accepted, you might not be able to get work, you might be rejected at school, you might be shunned so much you might not be able to go to school, you know. And so there's that gets, you know, you get brainwashed with that, you know. And so I certainly grew up with a lot of strange messages when I was young, and seeing what was modeled in front of me was self-rejection, day in, day out. And this is still going on in my own family, and you know, and it hurts so much to see that. So yeah, I get it, I totally get it. And as we go through life, what we're doing is we're looking for more ideas that match that, more evidence that fits that. And so unconsciously we are throwing ourselves away every day, and we're looking for people that.
So out of today, what do you hope that people walk away with in our demonstration? Because we're going to take the makeup off, right? We're going to take the mask off. We committed to coming here, and you know, as a demonstration of showing how we have to kind of put on this makeup mask in order to go out into the world. And I was sharing a story of one of my aunts that, you know, there was an earthquake in Peru, and she wouldn't come out of the house because, you know, she had curlers in her hair and she needed to do her makeup, and she ran back in the house willing to face danger, and because she wasn't made up and what she thought that would mean, or how she thought people would judge her.
Right.
So that's the part that you know, is like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? What are we doing? What's happening in society where you know, we're believing that we can't set foot out the door until we put on this facial mask? And it's not just the makeup, it's how we dress, it's the weight we carry, it's, you know, all of that. And I had that in my family as well. Like I would avoid going to family events because I already knew, you know, what the comments were going to be. Oh, hi. Oh, you put on a few pounds. And if I felt that way, you know, it's like, I was like, oh, I'm walking right into an ambush. Like, I already feel bad about it. I don't need to, you know, be told. And so again, what is the outcome for you that you want people to really see as a representation of us removing our masks as we're sitting here today? And people are trying to log in to see us, to watch us. If you're here, please make a comment. They're having a hard time finding the link, apparently. So I'd love to get that out there because it's so important, you guys, that you're with us on this. We're doing this as sisters. When Pimmi made that comment, I thought, you know what? If there's a sister who's really wanting to make a statement about something this powerful and she's in a little bit of fear, you know what? Then I'm going to stand by her as a sister in arms, like, you know, because this wasn't my idea. Let's just say that. However, I think the message is super important, and I want to make sure that she feels supported and she feels held by another woman, right? That, you know, also believes that we often wear masks. Then what happens? We start to feel like imposters, right? Now we're like, we find love, and they fall in love with a version of us that we've presented, right? But inside we're like, oh, but they're here because this is what I showed them. But if they knew who I really was underneath all of this, they wouldn't love me anymore. And then we get insecure, and we're uncertain, and we're jealous, and we're possessive, and all these things happen. And so it's so important that that we just really fall in love with who we are, with or without the mask.
Yeah, 100%. Let me just come back to you as well. Yeah, I love all of that. There are huge reasons around this, and it looks like something just so very simple, but there are huge reasons. I should answer your question as well, but before I do, I just want to say, if anybody is watching this out there, because this is being streamed through Facebook, and the video
My
is
daughter
actually,
says you need to make it public. Something
oh,
about making it public, because I don't see it either.
oh, let's have a look. Ah,
Yeah.
change. Got it. Yeah, it's public.
Okay.
Okay.
So let's
Yeah.
see if that
The ad
works.
is public. Yeah, the live video is public. Okay, so
Okay.
thank you.
And my daughter, she's like, send me the link. I want to watch. And she's like, we can't get on.
That's so
So
great.
I hope that worked. That's okay. Perfect fumble, right? We get to be perfectly human.
I had a dress rehearsal, well, a little rehearsal earlier on today with her. It was the most unbelievably donkeyfied rehearsal. It was ridiculous, and I thought we'd got through everything, but no. Okay, I'm glad that we've got that sorted out. So I hope everyone can see that now. So
I'll ask my daughter too.
Okay, so just to remind there, Jessie was asking me what my outcome would be from today. And in many ways, there are lots of outcomes, but I think the first and foremost, the one that I relate to a lot is I would really love if I can inspire even just one person out there to ultimately be able to feel brave enough to understand that whatever those layers are on top of them, that they are just ideas. They're not based on any solid fact. In fact, a lot of what we are, taking part in today is manufactured. Beauty itself is manufactured, and you'll find that in different countries there are different ideas of beauty. And if aliens came down tomorrow, I'm sure they would be like, absolutely, probably horrified at the way we all look. It's all subjective, so it's just all in our heads. And what I would really sincerely hope is that people could go away with a sense of self-acceptance, that it's okay for them to reveal who they are underneath, or maybe to just meet halfway. Maybe it's about slowly understanding what it is exactly that they have been hiding underneath, or maybe they're not completely aware that they are hiding. For a lot of people, they're not aware of that because it has become such a way of life. But ultimately, I think we always imagine that what we're doing is helping us to fit in, by wearing makeup, by dressing a certain way, by having surgery, that these efforts equate to a greater promise about how we are going to be accepted by the world and ultimately loved. And I would really sincerely hope that people out there understand that in that process they are giving away a huge sense of self, and that the trade is far weighted against them.
One of the ways that one of those things where I stepped forward to get outside of myself was running Spartan races. When you're running Spartan races, you might start out looking cute in your, gym shorts and your tank top. And when you're diving underneath a big pile of mud and you're coming out the other side, I mean, there's just no mistake. Everything's off. Your hair's covered with mud but it wasn't about that. You know what I mean? It was about being a part of a team. It was about being together and getting through this physical, challenge. And it becomes bigger. It becomes bigger than your looks. It becomes about the will inside. It becomes about the determination to complete a challenge and let go of what we think we need to be with this stuff. It's just like, no, who I am is the determined person that worked out got strong so that I can do this challenge and push myself beyond my limits. So that also included being a train wreck, as one would describe, right, in beauty, which is just not true. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences to be able to just let go of all of that and be me, and still be amongst my friends and still feel loved and still cross that finish line like a champion, and not worry about any of it.
Right, right. That's so hugely powerful. And I think it's great that you mentioned there, train wreck and all of these kind of terms that we use that obviously just thrown around. And, there's not a lot of, we're not investing hugely in putting us down, but on another level, there's great profit to be made from us feeling into that and, believing a certain amount of, having a certain amount of unworthiness. Because industries like the beauty industry are huge. They need us to feel and think a certain way about ourselves. And whilst obviously this isn't like one huge, anti-establishment, protest is not big sort of action to demonstrate that, but in some ways, on some levels, it is. It's subtly just we want to directly go straight through to the hearts of the people that are watching this. And I hope it goes way further than all of this, to remind people that you are already here. You arrived worthy. You were born enough. You were already beautiful the moment you got here. It's way bigger than that. If we take that upper level perspective, this is it's just a body. It's just a body. But I know
it's just our vehicle. It's just our human vehicle, right? And we want to adorn it with all kinds of things. But again, I think it's important to just allow ourselves to be seen, right? Like, I love what you named this group, Confidently Visible and Confidently Beautiful. Like, I think that it's important for us to own ourselves and to fall in love with ourselves in every aspect of who we are. Society is constantly telling us we're not enough, right? We're not pretty enough. We're not sexy enough. We're not tall enough. We don't have long legs. Our boobs are too big or they're too small, or our butt's too big or it's too small. It's just like, it's so confusing. And it's what is put in our minds and in the minds of our children, right? Like, they think that that's what we need to be in order to be loved and accepted. And pretty girls always get the win. Pretty girls always, and what about me? And so we live in a society where the belief is we have to create this perfection, right? Instead of understanding, to your point, that we are already perfect.
Right. Exactly. And I think that's something that just totally gets forgotten by the by, or never even realized.
So should we get this party started?
We're leading up to that point, aren't we?
Got the face wipes. And thank you to all of you that are here. Thank you for being patient and showing up, even though we got, this is all being recorded, so it'll all be there. But we appreciate your support. We really do. This is, an act of bravery. I know that, there was so much that came up for you. And, and for me, I just felt like I'm excited. I'm excited to drive this point home. I'm excited for people to connect to their beauty, their magnificence, without any mask. Now, we're not making makeup wrong, by the way, guys. Like, I'll still wear makeup after this. We were both talking about that. But it's about what it means. What it means. Is it I have to, right? Or is it that I just choose to because it adds to my feeling of, beauty or whatever? But the outcome here is to acknowledge that my beauty is not in a freaking, $20 pencil, or a $20 lipstick. I mean, it's crazy, the beauty industry and how much money there is there. Yeah. So that's the outcome here. We're not making anything wrong. We're just acknowledging that we're beautiful already and that we get to be beautiful no matter what.
Yes, definitely. I also want to add that it kind of gets our ethos around it, our feelings about it also changes as we get older as well. I've just turned 50, and for me, surrounded by what I see is in the older age groups are people for whom it starts to become a way of them still feeling valid and validated, as much as validated, but valid, still there, still noticed. And there's one thing missing there for me, and that's, are you noticing yourself? And so part of this for me is also you know, reminding myself that I'm not this, I'm not this. And as I get older, I want to go inward. I want to embrace more of whom I really am. I want to cherish my heart and this gift that I've come here with, you know, that I get to be in this body and get to watch it change. It's a beautiful experience, and I don't want that
It
taken
really
away.
is. It really is. And I had the privilege of my grandmother being almost 105 when she passed away. And oh my God, the woman was so beautiful. And when I look at her just being herself, when she finally allowed her gray hair to come in, because for the longest time she dyed it all the way through, I think up to her 90s.
Wow.
She always had her nails done. It was a beautiful example of just a dignified woman. But then when she started to really accept it, it was just like, oh, this is the most breathtaking thing to witness. And I think it's important to just remember that, you ever see a beautiful girl that, like, on paper by society standard is like, oh my God, she's a freaking 10, she's a 20, whatever. But her spirit is
Yeah.
angry. Her spirit is sharp. It's just like all of a sudden the beauty is not defined by the makeup or the look. And then you'll
Yes.
take what society would call an average looking woman, and she's in her beauty and her feminine and her love and her essence. It's like there's nothing more beautiful than that.
Absolutely.
All of a sudden that becomes what is the driving force for beauty. It's the spirit, it's the soul, it's the essence. Like I'm always saying, don't be stingy with your essence. Bring that forward. Then
Yes.
whatever comes after, cool. But your
Yeah.
essence is what touches people. Your essence is what shows people who you really are.
It does. It shines out. I have to say, you're a fine example of that, but it shines out of people. And that's, I hope we can unlock that in people today, because it's kind of also a choice, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so the moment of truth, although it's going to take me a moment or two because I'm going to be taking off my jewelry bit by bit as well. So it's a detract.
We have our makeup removal little thingamajigs here.
Here
I have
is
to
my jacket off.
grab and
Can I-
just begin the process. And I would love for whoever's present to start typing in the chat, like, what has it been for you? What does this mean for you when you put on your makeup, or the fear of going out into the world without it, or,
Yes.
having to be just made up a certain way? Share with us what that's like for you. Oh my goodness. The stuff sometimes, you get that stuff that you don't want to come off, so you wear it all day, and then you want it to come off, and it's like hard.
I have actually got the magic dust of makeup remover cleansers. So you're actually going to see this, I think, transformation happen in about 3 seconds with me.
Yeah, I mean, it does. There's the makeup, guys. There it is.
I have to say, Jessie, this is up there with one of the weirdest things I've ever done in public.
Well, it's interesting. And for you ladies that are there, like, is your love decreasing for us? Do you love us less as we're removing the makeup?
Nobody's answered yet.
I know, nobody's answering. They're like, well.
Okay, I'm getting really serious. I'm putting my hair back. Okay. I actually layered it on extra thick today. I never usually wear mascara, but I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to put it all on.
Right. That's what I thought. I'm like, I never ever wear eyeshadow, but I'm going to put some on today just to make the point. And I dropped my earbud here.
While I'm doing this, I kind of feel like I should highlight some of the things, not in a shaming way, not in a self-shaming way, but I'd like to highlight some of the things that I particularly hide, that I cover up. And one of the biggest things for me is I'm Asian, so I'm sort of born with these. I inherently have dark circles under my eyes, and I've occasionally had comments from people about that, saying, you look really unwell, when
Oh my goodness.
and it's
People
always
are great, aren't they? They just make the best comments.
way. And so I just had this lifelong urge to just hide those dark circles. And then on top of that, whenever I went to India, I had these comments about, oh, your skin's getting so dark, you're getting that dark pigmentation on your face. And I've got a lot of freckles naturally. And I also have actually a dark pigmentation mark here. And I've got to own something. I actually recently, I have a hair and skin doctor here, and she gave me, I've never done what Asian women often do, which is bleach their skin. I've never to, but she gave me this glycolic acid, and I started using that just on this little patch here. And literally at the weekend, it turned really dark. It just got burnt. And my partner was like, see, just stop doing this. Just stop doing this shit. And it was just so timely. I was thinking, oh my God, this is something I definitely have to own up to in this video.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, you know what? I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I love the honesty. And Yelenia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm so sorry. Love you more because you are real. Love that. And Hedi, love you no matter what. Beautiful lady.
Thank you
With
so
or without
much.
makeup, your beauty shines from within to all of us. Like, oh.
Thank you.
And it's interesting because too, I have freckles as well.
This is from
you wouldn't think a Latino would have, but I do. My dad had freckles, actually. My dad was very fair-skinned.
Right. I'd like to know actually what this means to you as well, doing this. Like you taking part.
It feels, I don't know, like freeing. It feels freeing to just do it. Just get like, oh, imagine all the money we'd save.
Amazing.
And you know what? I've spent a lifetime learning how to love her. So, I get to love her like this.
Yeah.
Because that's me. That's me. The rest is just kind of adornment.
Yes.
I do get to decorate this human vehicle the way I want to, but it doesn't define me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important message here. It doesn't define me that if I don't have this on, then I'm not, who I know myself to be. And I think that's the outcome. Shayna Marie said, I've gotten way more comfortable not needing to wear it unless I feel like it. But it's interesting. I can feel here the subconscious programming that it somehow means I'm not being professional or showing up my best, taking an event seriously, etc. If I were to go to a nice event without makeup, as though we're only allowed to be makeup-less at home on a Sunday. That's so interesting, right? It's so true.
True. Yeah, very, very powerful. It would be almost like we're not making an effort, as though you're not doing your job, because of course, after all, we are ornaments. That's supposed to be what we're supposed to do, is ornament. I'm going to say this in brackets, a man's world. So of course, that goes in, even if you reject it over time, even if you ascribe to be a different thinker, a feminist. And I know the F word is difficult for some people, but even then, it is true. We do get brought up as girls into women who feel a kind of sense of value about our appearance, and where that's going to get us, as I was saying before, the access,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Ezra,
I love what Ezra said. Yeah, go ahead.
Some people love freckles so much that they get a tattoo of freckles. I did not know that, Ezra. The definition of beauty is different in different parts of the world. 100%. When I'm in India, I've always been told off. Oh, you're getting too dark. I go home and my mum will always say, oh, you're black, you know, your skin's too dark.
Oh, my mom says the same thing. My girlfriend and I joke about it. The minute I go to the beach or whatever and come back tan, she's like, "Oh, look at your skin." She just wants it off. But again, it's their own patterning, right? It's their own like cultural meaning. What does it mean to be the darker Peruvian? You
Right.
know, that means you are the poorer. Because
Right.
the poor ones, the Incas that go out there in the farm, they're in the sun all the time. So their
Yeah.
skin is very dark. So it must mean you're poor, right?
Right.
They want you to have fairer skin. So don't you dare get a tan. And I'm like, Mom, I'm a sun worshiper. So that's just not going to happen.
That's the thing. And we have to make our own. I mean, these are stories, of course. And I think in so many ways, the worst thing we can do is take on and carry somebody else's story. And I'm sorry that they have them. I'm sorry that the women before us and the men too have them. But even if it serves us or not, the point is how do I want to see the world? How do I want to walk through this journey? I would much rather be walking through it without an ounce of makeup, but loving myself and feeling honest and true than wearing my whole makeup bag on my face right now. Or as some people call it, their war paint. I do not want to be in conflict with myself. That's all I want. I don't want to be a prisoner.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. And I hope people really hear what that is, that is the true outcome here. The outcome here is to fall in love with all aspects of you, with or without the makeup. And I love what Shayna wrote, because don't get confused by society standard or or what they think is expected of you. You show up. Remember, everything is energy. Everything is energy. If you have no makeup on, but you show up confident, you show up ready, you show up, in your full essence, there's nothing more beautiful than a woman in her feminine essence, just showing up beautifully, unapologetically. And you will buckle every man's knees, with or without makeup.
It's so true. And I just a shout out to my partner, Marco, who's every morning, he's like, "You're beautiful." And I'm like,
Aww.
"Oh my God." And then when I makeup, if he says it, then I'm always like, "It's the makeup." That's me diminishing. And that's what we all do. And we need to understand really what is beauty really? What does it really mean? But I think more often than not, strangely, often men, we will find, if asked, do prefer women without makeup, if that's anything that we need to take cognizance of. But well, here we are, Jessie. We have done it. You look beautiful. I'm so happy.
Likewise.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a big step. It's been a big thing.
Well, I hope this takes off. I hope that people really get what you're trying to deliver. I know this was you put this together. You're the one that wanted to do this, and I'm happy to support. And my outcome is to support a sister, and also to support all of you to really identify what masks are you wearing? What are those? Label them, identify them, and why did you place them on your beautiful essence? And it's not just makeup, it's identities, it's personas, it's how we show up in emotional states, just because we think that's what we need in order to be loved and accepted. What if society got it wrong? What if it wasn't that way? What if it was that you needed to show up unapologetically you, and that was what was going to serve the world, not you having to wear different masks to be loved and accepted? Wear a mask for your boss, wear a mask for your husband, wear a mask for your children or whatever. Take off the mask and be you. Bring you to the forefront. Then if you want to adorn your beautiful vehicle, go for it, but don't let that be the defining reason.
Absolutely. I love that. 100%. 100%. I'm with you there. So last look at the comments there. We've got, I think Shayna has said something else there. I remind myself how much it's all dictated by what society says is beautiful. If tomorrow the TV told us big noses and grey hair was hot, everyone would be Yeah, nose jobs to enlarge their nose and dyeing their hair grey. It reminds me that my
That's
beauty
right.
is mine to define, and it's in me owning myself and my beauty that makes me radiate. Isn't that so true?
Beautiful. Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
and that just exposes the
Absolutely.
whole lie that it is, that beauty, that it is a concept. And we get to, and you're right, 100%, we get to make it what we want. But 100%, there's just not enough of what's inside us that's allowed to also be put out there and called beauty enough. You know, I don't see I don't see any ads out there that are asking us to celebrate our inner beauty.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't sell anything. That
Exactly.
doesn't sell anything. It doesn't sell, pharmacy drugs. It doesn't sell makeup, right? It
Absolutely.
doesn't sell any of that. So you won't see it. So I think that's a beautiful point too to make here. Be mindful of what you're allowing to condition your belief system.
So
It's like
true.
my daughter and I talk about, it's like if somebody's saying, hey, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, I'm going to go, why? I want to see why. What if I do it? Right. So I'm always questioning when there's a big hard push in society to do something. I'm paying attention. So what is that about? Right. To your point, you're not going to see, you see on the side of buses a beautiful model laying there. You're not going to see one that says remove the makeup, don't buy the expensive clothes. It's just not going to happen,
And actually,
so
in the
maybe we can change that.
oh, I would love that. It troubles me that some of the words, and they really go deep, because just in the ad that we had for today's talk, I dropped in a little image of there's a woman with a split, her face split in two. One side has makeup and the other side is unmade, and her, she's got some pigmentation, blemishes, whatever. But it's just the wording there saying, problem areas and cover up and, shame, shame, shame.
Right.
And it goes deep. And I think that's what that's what I mean when people think, well, I don't really have a big problem with it, but there is a lot of conditioning on a subliminal level. And we're powerless to that. So I think what we have to do is just look another way and just create what we want. We have the power, the bigger power, because we have the power to think how we want to think.
And what if, advertisers want to sell ads, right? So what
Mm.
if we did take out an ad, removing the makeup, right?
Right?
Taking it off, right? At the end of the day, the advertisers just want to sell, right? So let's just start selling what we want. It's like I'm always looking at how can we flip whatever is going on that's taking us away from our beauty, our divinity, and how do we flip it on its side, on its head? How do we
Yeah.
flip it over? Okay,
Yeah.
so if you're going to buy an ad so that I buy all of the beauty products, so that I buy the belief that my beauty does not lie within, it lies in your product. What if we flip that on its head and
Yeah.
we literally do that? Take off the mask, be you unapologetically. And honestly, I think that's what we're here to do. So I hope that that's what everybody gets from this. It's just like, be unapologetically you. Hopefully you're out there not loving us less, right? Because again, we're still our beautiful essence, and we get to be that with or without it. So thank you so much for having me, Pimmi.
It's been an honor, as I said before, not just to have you on my calendar today. And you are so precious to so many people. You've changed so many lives. You still are, not least my own. Oh, dear God. Oh, dear God. But I'm just so happy and honored, deeply so, deeply moved to have you with me today as a true sister, true beacon of light. You're shining a light with me, but really you've touched my life in so many different ways. And this has meant so many things to me today. I would not be doing this today if it weren't for you. If it weren't for you, Sarah, I want to challenge you.
I'm so grateful that you said it, and it's my honor to be here. And I was thinking about what you said before we started. The StreamYard has the ability to adjust your image, or how do you call it? Where you
yes, you can enhance your
what?
image. You want
Yeah, enhance your look, right? And you almost went for it, right? It's just like, oh, let me click on that. Totally defeating the purpose, but that's how automatic it is.
Yes.
just like, oh yeah, let me touch up my appearance, right? So it's just like, nope, uncheck that box. Here it is. Here we
Yeah.
are. And we love you
Yes.
guys so much. And Pimmi, thank you. Thank you for being the brave one. Thank you for stepping out in front and being a true leader to help
Oh,
others remove their masks. And for the guys that showed up here, Ezra, Rory, like, thank you
thank
guys.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you guys
supporting
for being here.
this very powerful message, because we get confused and we try to mold ourselves into what we think we need to be, not just for society, but for our partner. So your support means the world to us.
It really does. It really does from the bottom of my heart. It's amazing to have you all here, watching two girls taking off their makeup, having a good old chat. But you get it, and on a much deeper level, and that's really what we wanted to achieve today. And if I can just ask all of you to share this. There are plenty of girls and women in your life who need to hear this message today. And quite frankly, there are lots of men too. We need the allies there. This isn't just about going out there, guns blazing, angry at the world and for how we've been conditioned, angry at, the profiteering. And it's not about that. It's about helping people understand that they have a far greater weapon in their hands. They have their hearts, and they can go out there with their hearts and souls and speak their own truth. And that's way more powerful. We don't have to be trying to change the world. We just got to understand what's inside us. That's the only pivot we need to make.
Well, and
Anything
what's beautiful about that is that we're the expert at what our heart feels. Like, we're in control. Like, we get to be this. Nobody can take that from us. Nobody.
Yeah.
So the beauty of what you just said is to be able to, you have your heart, that you bring that to the table every single time, and your beauty will freaking, woof, it'll just shine on anyone that you come in contact with.
Right. I love that. Let's end it on that. That's beautiful.
Yay.
You're beautiful. And I love you so much, Jessie. Mwah. And love to you all. Thank you, really, truly, deeply. This means so much. So very
Thank
much.
you so much, Rebecca, Shayna, Heggy,
Yeah.
like all of you, Yelena.
Rebecca, Rory, Ezra, Ilenia. You're all amazing and wonderful. From my 13-year-old self, really, and from my now 50-year-old self, thank you so much, and thank you, Jessie. This has been amazing. I think we've made history.
We will. Let's make it so. All right. Love you guys.
Everybody.
Mwah.
Mwah, 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 mwah.